Hello, and welcome back once again to the thing that all white men in their early 20s love most, IPAs. Nope, podcasts. Welcome back to Belmont Bunch. Obviously feeling a little silly today. We've got James. James, hello.
Yeah, I'm in my early 20s, and I do like IPAs.
Then I
Wait,
don't
Tom, are
understand.
you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy,
Dude,
dude.
I'm like such a nerd. I've like seen the movies.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yo, new movies, so bad. Okay, so yeah, let's get started then, I guess, with the four games the Islanders had this
Yes.
week.
A
All right,
lot to cover.
a lot to cover, and we're
And
gonna do it in a half hour. Okay,
yes,
it's not gonna
sir.
be an almost hour long episode like it always is, you
Hmm.
know. So we're gonna do it in a half hour. Prove us wrong. Okay.
All right. Here's how I'm going to prove us wrong. I'm going to go through these games very quickly. The Boston game, 7-2 victory for the Islanders. It was kind of building for a while, I guess, because the Islanders have been, uh, by advanced stats metrics, favored to kind of break out offensively for a while based on the amount of chances they were generating. And guess what? They did it all in one game. They score 7 on a Boston team that I didn't think could give up that many. And then the next day, the Rangers did exactly what we did. So it made it feel less special, but it's still, ego aside, it's still a big thing for the Islanders climbing up the standings. If we're going to struggle with a team like Pittsburgh to beat another good team, to make up for it in one area. We talked about with James Duffy a few weeks ago. The Buffalo games need to be like givens, and Jersey's kind of falling into that category too, but we'll get to that. We don't see Pittsburgh again for a while, which is nice. You got to beat Boston. You got to beat Philly. You got to beat Washington. And that will basically decide your playoff seeding. And based on how well we're playing at home, you want to be the higher seed in the playoffs if you're the Islanders. So this game, big win. Wallstrom gets a goal. Wallstrom's been playing excellent hockey.
Who I
Yelich gets
also
a goal.
I saw a tweet today from I think it was from Isles Nation.
Uh-huh.
It was that Wally's only 12 or he's only
little known
20.
fact.
He's only
Yeah.
20 years old. That's
Uh-huh.
insane. I had no idea
Yeah.
he was that young. I knew he was
Former
like,
first round pick.
yeah.
Same year as we took Dobson in the first round.
Okay, yeah, that makes
We
sense.
took, and I could be getting the order wrong, but we had 2 first round picks that year. We had 11 and 12, and we took,
See,
I
that's
think
that's why I
Dobson.
thought he was 12 because he was,
Sure.
11. Yeah,
Sure,
it's the 11th or
sure,
12th
sure,
pick.
sure.
So yeah,
So I think we took Dobson at 11 and Wallstrom at 12,
that's
but it might be the opposite.
makes sense. Or it
But
might
either
not.
way, Wallstrom, the way that he's breaking out, kind of makes you less worried about going out, having to go out and get a depth offensive piece. That's kind of for the Boston game. All you need to say, depth scoring is becoming a thing. The power play is hot because they have experimented with
Yeah,
Wallstrom on the
definitely not
power play
expecting.
unit.
I was not expecting that this
Wallstrom has
season.
helped to reawaken Josh Bailey through a lot of power play assists. And I think the Islanders have figured a couple things out in this past week. All right, I'll end that there for the Boston game.
Okay,
Was
wait.
gonna
I
say
have one
more,
question
but
about the Boston game.
sure,
Then Boston game. Then,
sure.
do you feel bad for Halak?
Oh, sure. Yeah, because
Oh, okay. I was
that
expecting
team.
like a no remorse, like no, he's a traitor.
Nah, I love Yarrow. No, they left him out to dry,
Yeah,
and
for
especially
sure.
the game winner by Beauvillier. The forward for the Bruins that had retrieved the puck was standing right in front of his own net.
Oh my
This
God,
is
yeah.
Frederick, who's a very young player, and he looks like he's like 15, but he's like, I think he's also 20.
Hmm.
And he got stripped and Bo sleek
Yeah.
finish to put it past Yarrow. That is a rough one because that is not Yarrow's fault. And generally, the third period just got out of hand. The Islanders just dominated.
Hmm.
So Yarrow, he was an angry camper, and he was justified.
Hmm.
He was justified for his anger. And the Islanders played
Was
one of
that
their.
Was that Siri? Was that
What?
Siri? Did your phone Siri just go off?
No,
I swear to you, I just heard Siri.
no. Siri doesn't like me. She doesn't answer. Also, I never set her up.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, mine has gone off like randomly the last couple of days. So I'm starting to
Yeah.
get suspicious. People want our insider Islanders knowledge, which we're
It's
giving
the.
away for
It's. I'm
free.
pretty sure it's the Penguins.
Oh, you're probably
That's
right. You're
how
probably
they've
right.
been beating us.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh my, because they watch our show.
Yeah, and we
Wow.
know so much.
And because they listen to our phones. So, all
Yeah.
right. So let's go with then the two Pittsburgh games. So I guess we'll start with the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, let's start with the second.
Oh.
No, because I don't want to talk about the loss, but
I got you.
they lose in OT. This is a frustrating one. This is a game that we've seen many times this year against Pittsburgh, which is the Islanders play a pretty good game, but they make just enough mistakes to lose. Um, this was a weird one. We go up 2-0, and we're playing pretty well, and it kind of feels like a game that for an Islanders team that defends really well, the game should be over. But with our recent form against Pittsburgh, I think every Islander fan knew this game was not over, and that was proven when we took a stupid penalty, and then like 2 seconds into the power play, Yarrow, our goalie Varlamov caught an edge in his skate, and he fell down, and they just slapped it by him. So that was probably a bad sign.
Yeah, that was
and even
like what was that, like not even 5 seconds into the power play?
Yeah,
It
right
was,
off the face
yeah,
off.
yeah.
And then that was pretty bad news. Even worse news was giving up a goal another 22 seconds later and the game being tied. And Varley, I think it's been said, Varley looked off in this game. And the good thing is I don't think it was a long-term thing because he came back and he played well against New Jersey, spoiler alert. But it probably was, and this is why I love having such a good coach and coaching staff in general. I think the Islanders recognized that it was a little bit unsustainable to keep starting Varley at the rate that we were starting him. And so it was a big deal to get Sorokin going. And they did that in the second game. But to finish off about the first game, we do come back and our second line looked really good. So there were positives to take out of what was another frustrating loss to Pittsburgh. The second line, Bo had an assist. I want to say Brock got the first goal, and Bailey got the third goal. And Bailey hasn't been doing a lot of goal scoring this year. Even when he's playing well, it's mostly assists. That's good to see, Josh Bailey. And the power play has been really good, and it was really good in this game as well. And Varley probably should have had 3 of the 4 goals. And that's the first time all year, I think, that I would be frustrated with Varley's like more than 1 goal in a game.
Mm-hmm.
But, it happens. I'm not angry because it's more of like a utilization thing. And I think Trotz is already starting to figure that out a little bit better. As we move on to the next game. Oh, one other thing. The Islanders can't stop Chris Letang, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah. What is he got 4 goals all against the Islanders?
Yeah. So
that game
sure.
was at that first. They were both at the Coliseum, right?
Yes.
And so then the Islanders still have not lost in regulation at the Coliseum.
Yeah, that's true. I think they're 6-0-1 or 7-0-1.
No, I think they're 7-0-2 because I think that Pittsburgh OT
true.
loss was a second OT loss against Pittsburgh. So,
that's another reason why you want home ice advantage come playoff time.
Wait, hang on a second. We can figure out what they are because I have the screen open on the other thing, which everybody can see.
We have the technology.
So let's go to the past game. So they were Pittsburgh. Oh, this doesn't have the record on there. Never mind. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it anyway.
So
continue with the second game.
The second game was more of a typical Islander game in terms of like kind of snuffing some of the life out of the game, but not really. I didn't have an issue with it really. First of all, because I was tired of losing to Pittsburgh, so whatever way you could do it, that's great. But it was also a well timed, good performance in front of Sorokin, who kind of got screwed by the Islanders not playing well in front of him early in the year. And this game was rectifying a lot of those mistakes. They didn't give up a lot of high danger chances. Sorokin didn't have to super badly extend himself. So he just, I think you want him to just get some steady opportunities, but you don't want him to have to bail the team out constantly. And he early on that he was having to do that. And I'm hoping this game, because he hasn't started much, and I'm hoping this game is kind of the turning point. And based on some of the stuff I heard from Trotz after the game, it sounds like they want to go for a 60-40 split the rest of the way. and I think they wanted that coming into the year. But Sorokin, obviously, he's probably been working with the goaltending coaches, if I had to guess, and that's probably part of the reason he hasn't started in a while. And it's even more important after watching Varlamov kind of struggle a little bit for one of the first times this year.
Yeah, that was frustrating to see, but like totally understandable, like you said.
Yeah, and again, like as long as they got something out of it, which I think the Islanders coaching staff did, they said, "Hey, we've got to get Sorokin in there, and we got to start playing better in front of him." And they accomplished both of those things in the second game. And Pittsburgh, part of it, Pittsburgh really looked disengaged in the second game. I wonder maybe they were tired back end of a back-to-back. Trott's Islander teams specifically have been really, really good in the back half of back-to-backs. So, maybe it's just a conditioning thing. The Islanders are well conditioned. That's the Islanders Pittsburgh second game.
The one thing I want to bring up about that, though, is what do you think about, as I'm quoting somebody else I heard on Twitter, Princess Crosby, seeming to get very upset.
Yes, I wasn't a big fan of he had laid a cross check on Pollock. I think it was Pollock. And then Bo cross checked him, and all of a sudden Crosby's like, he kind of flopped. I'm a soccer player. I know what it looks like. But also he, like on that one, it was a little bit more understandable because I think if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you might argue that Bo had the harder cross check. But also Sidney Crosby is one of the best skaters in the world. And he's one of the, he has a great sense of balance. And he didn't seem to have it there. I'll just say that. And then later in the game, he just interfered with Beauvillier. Like, he just went out of his way and knocked Beauvillier into the post and knocked the net off the moorings. And that didn't get called. And then a few minutes later, Brian Rust did something that was not as egregious, and that got called. So to me, that's the NHL refs. And this is true of most teams. The superstar players kind of get a pass sometimes. And I'm sorry, your name's not Sidney Crosby. So Brian Rust, you have to go to the box now. And so that's kind of a pain. But, that's something that you have to be aware of, especially Barzal, because he keeps taking penalties. Maybe the reason.
When do we get that superpower?
I think it's kind of, you have to, it shouldn't be this way, but I think with referees in the NHL, sometimes you have to be an established superstar to get that level of respect, like an Ovi, like a Crosby, like a Kopitar, something like that. Mm-hmm. And Barzal still being pretty young, maybe he doesn't get that benefit of the doubt, although he does still draw a lot of penalties, so maybe it evens out.
That's true. Yeah, I was trying to look for a photo of which you'll see on the, like, once the video's up, but of, I thought I must have misremembered. For some reason I thought it was Sorokin and Varley like giving each other, kind of like a, not like a hug, but like one of those pats on the head after the game. But it was, I guess I don't know why, but it was Varley and Brock. So I have that picture up on screen for everybody. You're welcome. There we go. And that was after the Devils game. Which we will talk about now.
Yes. So the Devils game, man, if you slept through the first two periods, you missed nothing.
I did. I watched them muted because I couldn't watch them with the volume on at the moment. I was in a Zoom meeting while the game was going on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you didn't miss a lot because first two periods. I mean, well, at least the second period, you could say as a viewer, if you were a Devils fan, you were probably engaged in that second period. I think they had something like 16 shots in the second. First period, shots were 8-4 Islanders, and it felt like an extension of the Pittsburgh game, where the Islanders are defending well, and they weren't creating a ton of chances, but they were having the best of the chances. Then in the second period, the Devils came out, and they just completely outplayed the Islanders. The Islanders... good, and this is Varley came back and he played a really good game. Getting that game off was really important, obviously, and Varley looked like he was back on his game. He tracked the puck pretty well, and he had a shutout until the last 12 seconds, and I'll get to that. There is a thing I want to talk about on that goal.
Yeah, I think I know.
Yeah, but the Isles are able to weather the storm, and obviously Varley is a big part of that. And maybe playing against New Jersey is a part of that too, because Jersey's kind of fallen off.
But dude,
Uh,
didn't you see their reverse retro though?
I did
It was
enjoy
pretty
it.
fire.
I will. All right, here's Tom's quick reverse retro critique corner. I think the striping is a little bit busy. There's a lot of
What?
stripes,
No,
but
I
I
don't think it's busy
love.
enough, bro.
I
I actually, in seeing the jersey like actually on the screen, it's definitely darker than I thought it was. I thought it was a little bit lighter of a green, but
yeah,
they won't. But that's not a critique. It's just like a
yeah.
no
See, I
thing I
like the
noticed.
green a lot, and I was talking to my brother. I was like, well, here's the thing: if they did what I wanted and they like, cut down on the striping a little bit, they would literally just be the green version of what the Chicago Blackhawks did for their reverse retro.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
because they have
So
a
they need the
black.
striping.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it needed it. I kind of like it to be more simple. I think the Devils I kind of like the Devils like 2000s jerseys
Hmm.
a lot more than the more like recent revamp. So I like the Eliash years type thing or I think probably like 2000s to like beginning of the 2010s. Um Either way, that's been Tom's jersey corner. I said it. Don't worry, I was able to get through that. I almost said Joms. So back to the game. The Islanders get two quick in the third. Wallstrom continues a torrid pace, 5 game point streak. I think a 3 game goal streak. And this is just like right out of NHL, the video games.
Hmm.
He got tired of a game being nothing nothing, and he just decided to rip a wrister top corner. And the Islanders throughout the night, when they did create chances, a lot of them were by Pajot, and a lot of them were shot to the glove side of the Devils goalie, which was Aaron Dell, their backup, which is very smart because the Islanders struggle against backups, and they were like, "Hey, let's start our backup." Um, and Aaron
And it
Dell,
almost worked. It worked for the first two
yeah,
periods.
it was working. Aaron Dell has a good glove hand, apparently. And the Islanders finally stopped shooting to the glove hand, and it started working. Wallstrom shot to the high stick side, beat him. So 1-0 there. Just a couple minutes later, Barzal had a really good shift, doing his usual thing, gets it to the point. Green gets it towards the net. Good bounce for the Islanders. Anders Lee just slams home his 10th of the year, which is big for Anders Lee because that contract is one that will constantly be on a knife's edge. Like, if he doesn't look good, that contract is terrifying. If he looks good, you're at least content with it.
How many more years
So
does he have on it?
like 5 or 6.
More years, and he just
Yeah,
turned 30.
he's signed for a while.
It was birthday. It wasn't his birthday. Like a few
I
days
want
ago.
to say he's signed until 2025.
Damn. So
Yeah,
he'll be
so
like 35.
yeah, so they got to make sure he
30
keeps
It
going.
might be 34, but yeah, still.
Yeah, so they want to stave off his regression.
Yes,
That will happen
yes.
eventually. Yeah, so they get the second there. They do a really good job in the third period of just kind of seeing out the game. The one Devils goal, first of all, the Islanders hit the empty net post like 3 times, and that's becoming a theme of this year's. The Islanders, well, not even just this year. The Islanders don't hit empty nets, and under Trotz, it kind of feels like they're not trying to hit the empty net. Like, they're like, that's not their goal. Their goal is just to defend, and that's fine. But it's weird that when they get the chance to shoot on the empty net, then they always hit the post. It's weird. I think we have 1 empty net goal this year. We've had many opportunities. So that's just like a weird thing to keep track of.
Yeah, that is interesting. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if like Trotz or the coaching staff or whatever was like, don't, you know what I mean? Like, if you have no option and you need to clear it, like try to obviously get it on net just so it's not icing, but don't prioritize that. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Miles Wood scores to ruin the shutout, but as I said in the game recap, this goal shouldn't have counted. Miles Wood clearly just clears Andy Green out, and not in a legal way. Like, I want court filings. No, okay. No, he interfered with Andy Green for sure, and they didn't call it. The referees were terrible in this game, both ways. I said in the video, and I'll say it now. Pajot, it wasn't called against him. This is the first penalty called against the Devils. Somebody apparently high sticked Pajot. You fooled me on that one because I didn't see a high stick anywhere. And PK Subban later in the game with a clear cross check I think it was on Brock. Nothing got called. The referees did a horrible job, but the Islanders survive. Their penalty kill went 4 for 4, and the Islanders' special teams are really improved from last year, and I think that's a big reason
They have
that
a new
they've been
special
able
teams
to.
coach, right?
I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do. And well, actually, I'm not sure because Lane Lambert seems to be the guy that they go to during timeouts. I'm not sure if he's the one that's been coordinating the power plays, but either way, I think
Let's
more of
see.
it's been more of a personnel change. Like having Wallstrom on that power play has been a big boon to it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, wait a second. Hang on. I just revealed some huge news right now.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
looking up. All right, so here's the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Obviously, the GM, Lou Lamoriello. The assistant GM is Chris
His-
Lamoriello.
Yeah, I think his
What
son.
the heck is that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And then there's Steve Pellegrini, Barry Trotz, and then there's Lane Lambert, who's the assistant
Yep.
coach. Oh, they're all just labeled as assistant coaches,
Oh, okay.
so it doesn't say who's who. But yeah, so there's Lane Lambert, who I see him all the time next to Trotz.
Mhm.
John
Yeah.
Gruden, Jim Hiller, and Mitch Korn.
Not the football John Gruden.
I guess not. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
But
but imagine if it
yeah,
was the same. Damn, this guy's
Yeah,
talented.
he would be trying to get the Islanders to run the ball downfield, and then they realize it's not a field and they can't run with it, or it's a penalty.
Whoops, that was embarrassing. So, yeah,
John Gruden would be like, "Need to get your hands up, and then you got to push the guy back." This is a terrible impression, but
not a bad
so that's
football
kind-
coach, like generalist in impression. That was pretty good.
Yeah, we'll pretend that it was a good specific impression.
Cool.
So do you want to move on to hot or not?
Yes, I
Dun,
have.
dun, dun.
I do, but I have two, one or two. I already forgot one of them. One comment
All right.
to make, just about the Islanders in general. This could be maybe my over. You know, this will be my hot take. Actually, I know it's not the point. It's hot or not, right? It's like which players are hot and which players are not, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I got to keep all the. We have so many ideas. So this is my hot then.
Yes.
Other than Wallstrom. Period to period, the Islanders seem to be much more consistent than what I remember last season. I remember us having a few conversations. I don't remember if they were ever on camera, but just talking about how it felt like the Islanders, if they would do well in the first period and then they would come out in the second period acting like they already won the game. They would be like, just much more lax defensively. And I have not seen that, as far as I could tell, in this season at all. It's been much more consistent, like playing full 60-minute games. And while there's been a few defensive lapses that have cost them. Like there was that Caps game a few weeks ago where they let 5 goals up in 5 minutes or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like that, weird stuff like that. But nothing where it felt like a whole period has been the tides have turned and then they have to come back out in the third or whatever, or some weird weird thing like that. I don't know. You don't seem to agree. What's your thought on that?
No, actually, I would generally agree. I think maybe. So you were talking about last year in the regular season.
Yeah.
And I think that is pretty accurate. I think, we didn't really see that much in the playoffs. They played a really, really good.
Yeah, 100%.
So maybe it's something that I know I've heard from players personally. No, not personally, but I've heard that players
I was
enjoyed.
texting, Cizikas yesterday. And,
Yeah. I was talking to Casey. We're on first name basis.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I still have to call him Mr. Cizikas.
Yes. Yeah. Be careful now.
Yeah.
But I think some of the players, the Islanders especially, seem to really relish the chance to treat it like a summer camp where you're just hanging out with your bros, and so I think maybe it brought the team closer together in that area, and also they played a lot more disciplined hockey, and they probably played the best hockey an Islander team has played since the 80s.
Oh, you said it. You said it.
Well, I don't think it's that hot a take. But going back to, so you talked about this year. This year, I would agree. I think the consistent, so against teams not called the Capitals or Penguins, the effort has been excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think maybe you could accuse, and this is probably being a little bit harsh, against Buffalo, we kind of play a good first period and then let the rest of the game just happen because Buffalo has been so poor that it has allowed the Islanders to do that. But I would say generally the effort is more consistent this year. The Devil game is not the perfect example because they kind of went to bed in the second period,
Mm-hmm.
but they played 2 good periods. Well, they played a very solid third and a decent first. But generally, I would agree. I think the effort has been there. I think when they've lost, it's a couple, like we still do take a couple of stupid penalties a game. And for some reason, we don't get those calls when the other teams do it to us recently.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think the effort has been good. I think Trotz is probably very, very happy with the work ethic, that part of the game.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy with certain players' work ethic, but those players have not seen as much playing time. So
yeah, he's been good about like shuffling players around like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's intentional or cap related. How much it's intentional. Like
I think it's more.
Discipline.
I think how early in the year when it was starting to get a little bit not dicey, but like when the Islanders were struggling a little bit, and we were like, "Hey, Leo keeps doing stupid crap. Can we get a benching?" And it did come. So Barry, the good thing about Trotz is he seems to learn from his own mistakes. Overuse of Varley. Guess what? We start Sorokin. Oh, and now Varley looks great in this next game.
Yeah.
So that quick learning is a big part of why he's such a good coach. And also the players genuinely seem to like playing for him and feel that he is fair with his playing time. Leo got benched, played really well for the couple games after. And, recently he hasn't gone back to being really bad, but he's just been average. And guess what? Dow Cole gets a shot. So I think he's been very, very fair recently with his, playing time distribution. And that is why Wahlstrom, my hot player of the week, has been getting more opportunity. Even though his time on ice isn't extremely high, he's getting like good minutes. Like he's getting power play opportunities. Those are prime minutes. It gives him a chance to uncork that really, really good shot, which is one of the reasons we drafted him. And I think there's hope for the future in that. I think a few weeks ago, it was being wondered, are we, when we weren't playing well, oh boy, is this falling apart, like the whole team construction? And guys like Dobson, Letty turning things around from last year.
Definitely, yeah.
Sorokin and Wahlstrom, young guys outside of Letty, young guys who are like making their mark on the team right now, really gives you more security in that, okay, they're in win now, but it doesn't feel like they're like screwed.
Yeah.
Like even if they have to do a semi-rebuild, like if things didn't work out and they had to do a semi-rebuild, a few weeks ago, I'd be terrified of that. Now, looking at Wahlstrom developing, looking at Dobson developing, looking at Barzal continuing to be better, I actually feel like they're in a decent place organizationally.
Yeah. No, I would agree, and I would say it's really dependent on, not dependent, but helped out by Wahlstrom and Dobson, and, because hopefully he'll be, how they're the same age, right? You said they're drafted the same year?
Yeah. So I think they're both 20.
Yeah, so yes, I agree. Because we also did briefly talk about that with James Duffy as well. And he was saying, because that was 2 weeks ago that we did that, right? So
yes,
he was saying, the window opportunity is big now, but it's like we're headed towards a cliff. And so now
this makes you feel like the cliff isn't as
not
on
as
the
steep.
horizon.
Yeah,
maybe it's a plateau.
Well, no, it's
that
still
would just
a cliff.
keep going.
It's just
it's a small ravine. I don't know my geography well enough. I fell asleep in a class at our high school once, and it was earth science. So
wow,
that is why I can't give you a definitive answer on this.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
The only time I've ever fallen asleep in a class.
The only time I've ever fallen asleep in class was during our Spanish final. I did not pass that final. I passed the class.
Yeah.
Didn't pass the final, though. So, I was up so late studying the night before, okay? That's why.
Classic tale. Well, actually, for the school that we went to, that is believable.
Yeah. So, okay, so then we were going to do goaltending, and then, stay tuned, we're going to do around the league, this time in 59 seconds. It's going to get a little bit shorter every time.
I'm going to have 1 second at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you think of the team? Good. That's it. Actually, there's one thing very quickly before we get to that.
Oh,
My
what's up?
not player of the
Oh, I
week.
totally forgot. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
I'll make it very quick because I know we have other stuff to get to. Scott Mayfield has struggled this year. He had a really I liked his game last year. I think this year he has struggled to like clear the puck on a lot of occasions. Um, so it hasn't been as crisp from him. It's not as definitive. Sometimes he gets a soft clearance and it doesn't get out of the zone, and it's like, well, that does us no good.
Hmm.
So I wonder if for him we can press the same buttons that we did with Leo. Scott, we're gonna bench you for a night. We got give you the fire back a little bit because you need to crave that playing time. And guess what makes you crave it? Not playing will then get you to be like, all right, I got to write my game. I got to play better because I don't want to be watching from the press box.
Hmm.
So that's my not player of the week.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. Except I will say, when we talked about this before too, he hasn't been taking penalties at least.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, he had like, I think he had what, like maybe a few holding penalties, somewhat recently.
Mhm.
But other than that, I mean, like, it's not a high sticking penalty. It's not like it's not a lazy pen. Well, I guess it's maybe it could be argued as a lazy penalty if you're not skating.
Yeah. It
You know.
depends on the context.
Yeah, but so yeah, I would agree. For my not player, because I forgot to think about it. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Unfortunately for me, it's still Brock. I know he had, what did he have, one goal this past week?
Maybe two.
Maybe two
Mhm.
goals. Come on, man. Brock should be like maybe 5 goals in a week. You know, like he's
Yeah.
it's I still hope that he's gonna still like continue. He's been gaining steam as the season goes on, so I feel like
Yeah.
I hope that will continue, but we'll see.
I think that's fair. I think he would even say that. I think he would say that he has to up his
Because you were
game.
talking
And
to him.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, me and Brock,
Yep.
or as I call him, Brock. Um, yeah, no, he, like a lot of his goals, like I will feel like his confidence is back once I see him use his wrister again.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I said, that's the
Exactly.
number one. That's like his number one attribute, I think.
And now Wallstrom
And
has it. So what the
yeah,
heck?
well, that's the thing. Wallstrom is doing a good job of hiding issues in other
Yeah, I
places.
didn't think of
But
that.
the good thing is, like you said, I do think that Brock is slowly coming out of it. Um, it's funny. I said to my brother, it's probably a good sign for Brock that I think he's got 6 goals and he hasn't even played well. So
Oh,
having
I
six
didn't. I actually
goals
didn't think he had
without
that
having,
many. So
yeah.
that's
So,
actually not bad.
but like to your point, I think 5 of them are on the power play, which is good.
Yes. Yeah.
But 5-on-5, we need him to step up a little bit. The good thing is that having Beauvillier back, I think, is going to be very helpful for that, and having Bailey starting to play better is going to be a big part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
That's
So
a
okay.
big line. That's a big line for the Islanders.
Yep. Yep. So okay. So then goaltending. You had something to say. A point about goaltending.
Yeah, I am very interested in seeing where this goes. I think Barry wants to, like I said earlier, 60-40,
Hmm.
not have to overwork Varley because once the playoffs come, I think Varley's. I mean, last year Varley didn't start every game. The playoffs are a weird thing. Sometimes a goalie gets like shelled and you go to the other guy the next day. People forget that Thomas Greiss was the goalie that won Game 7 against Philly. Even though Varley generally had a good playoff run, things happen in the playoffs, and having 2 goalies gives you a lot more, ability to rest your starter. The Toronto Maple Leafs have figured this out over, this year. Their backup goaltending has been really good, and it's a really important thing not to overwork your goalie in
Hmm.
the regular season, especially if you're a team that really feels you should be in the playoffs. Like if you're like the Islanders'
Yeah.
expectation is they should be in the playoffs, so you should accordingly, make sure the goaltending is evenly distributed, especially if you like Sorokin's supposed to be the future in net. Guess what? This is the year that he starts to build that, legacy, hopefully. Legacy might be too big a word, but starts
Might
to
be too
build
small
that
though.
confidence.
It might be. It might be. And it
Might
be
be too
just
small
right.
if he's the best goalie ever, am I right?
Hey, he's already has 2 shutouts, right?
Yeah, both his wins are shutouts.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I had him in fantasy. I picked him up. I needed a shutout. I got the shutout, and I still lost my fantasy game because the Islanders didn't allow enough shots. They were too
Oh,
good in that game.
oh, that's
So
so. Oh wait, because it goes
his
by
yeah, so his
like shots saved or whatever. Like,
yeah, even though his save percentage was 1,000, it was fewer. It was fewer shots. I don't know. I don't know how math works. Anyway, that's my corner on goaltending. I
so
think.
like, wait, wouldn't that mean that who's like the best? Who's the worst team defensively that has the best goalie? That would be the goalie you want for
Worst team
fantasy.
defensively.
Because then they allow the most shots, but the goalie's really bad.
Well, see, that's a double-edged sword because, as a good example, not Toronto, the Canadiens, Montreal, they have someone who's considered one of the best goalies in the league, or was, and he's starting to kind of break down because
they're relying on him too much.
I think they've over relied on him a little bit in the past, and he's also getting a little bit older. Carey Price is who I'm talking about here. I had him in fantasy, so that's never good. You don't want me to have you in fantasy because that means you're not going to be good anymore. So I should probably drop Sorokin. But
yes, please.
Yeah. But it's a double-edged sword because that goalie can play really well for a short while, and then eventually it's like a flood. The floodgates are down, and it's just a torrent.
So that's actually kind of what I felt happened with Grice last season a little bit. You know, like it's hard to say, but it could have been other things. Could have just been confidence in general.
And that's what's happening with Grice right now in Detroit.
Oh,
the poor
sucks.
guy's getting shelled. He
sucks.
broke his stick over the net the other day.
He did?
That's what happens when you play in Detroit.
No, that's what happens when you leave the Islanders, because Halak did the same thing.
and not to the same extent, but even
Robin Lehner.
Why am I? Even Robin
I
Lehner
knew
has
you were
struggled a little bit.
You were
Yeah,
gonna say that.
even Robin Lehner struggled. So it does say something for the Islanders' defensive system that it is so helpful for goalies.
It might also say something about our coaching staff, our goalie.
Sure.
Well, man, maybe because obviously they're good, but our coaching staff didn't make them good. They were already really good, you know.
Yeah. Well, we are fortunate enough to once we hired Barry Trotz, he brought his goaltending coaches over from Washington, and they turned
it's
Braden Holtby
and
Pierre Greco.
Pierre Greco.
Yeah. So they're
oh wait, Jacques Lamari is the special
Lemaire
assignment coach.
Yes,
Jacques Lemaire.
So
is that special teams?
No, that's like scouting, I think.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
So, no, that probably goes to show that the Islanders currently have a very strong organization with a lot of people who are thought of highly in hockey circles. Specifically, those two goaltending coaches as well. Because Mitch Korn has been known as a bit of a guru.
Oh.
A love guru.
Wow.
The movie that ended Mike Myers' career.
So, before it ends our career, we should move on to Around the League. We'll do 60 seconds.
Let's do it.
We won't lower it by 1 second every time. That'd be stupid.
I'm not going to talk about every team this time, but I have some teams specifically that I have to talk about.
Okay, so all right. So then, what's the requirement? Just talk about every league, every division.
Sure. I can highlight a team in each division.
A team in each division?
I can highlight a few. You're asking a lot of me here. I don't know.
I get 60 seconds on the clock? Here we go. All right.
Let's do it.
Wait a second. I don't actually have to do this. Oh, but I need you to see it. I was gonna put it on the other screen, but it's fine.
Let's do it.
All right. Where's the start button? Ready?
Yes.
And 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. In the North, the Toronto Maple Leafs continue to kind of dominate that division, but I am also still really bearish. That's the bad one. Yeah, bearish. I don't know stomps.
You don't have the time.
I'm bearish on that division. Calgary, Vancouver, Ottawa are just kind of a waste. Montreal isn't even that good. Winnipeg, I'm still trying to figure out. I am way behind time. Dallas, please figure it out. I picked you to make the playoffs. Don't let Chicago do this to us again. I am tired of Chicago just finding random players from Europe and figuring out a way to make the playoffs. This is ridiculous. Thomas Greiss, as we said, I'm so sorry. I hope things get better in Detroit. The Islanders are tied for first. They're playing really good hockey. I am starting to think they're the best team in the division. Buffalo. Buffalo has to figure it out. Things are bad. They might have to trade everybody. And in the West, the Blues aren't as good as I thought. Minnesota's great and good for the Kings on being a decent team.
All right, good for the Kings. That's what we leave it off on. And if you had more to say, well, too bad. Okay.
I am not allowed to say them.
Wait, do you actually have more to say?
No.
So is that a win or is that a loss?
That's a win. I think
Okay,
that's a win.
so wait. In that case, you win. That's right. You guessed it. This honorary Andrew Ladd bobblehead.
It's my fifth.
What was that?
They're on clearance. I just get them.
They're on clearance.
I just go to Modell's.
This is actually the same one as last time. But it will actually be in your house next time. All right.
40 years from now when the pandemic's over.
Yep.
You can physically award me
I will ship it
the
to
Andrew
you
Ladd.
in a jar of Purell.
And I think the Islanders will still be paying him.
You had to make it sad.
Yep.
It wasn't sad.
Wait. Hold that up again. I don't think that jersey's accurate. Hold it up a little higher.
Man, we need some light on this.
Okay, no, it's not. I see. I saw the glove and I thought that they had orange, blue, white, blue, orange, which just sounds like me listing colors. But the sleeve. So I thought that they had screwed it up, but it's just the way that he's holding his arm. The jersey
I see.
The jersey is correct. See, I thought the beginning of the glove was part of the jersey, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm wearing the jersey. It ends with white on the sleeves, but it's just the gloves. So
just the gloves.
I am wrong. Yep.
So thank you, Andrew Ladd, for making appearances as you normally do. Next week, our prize actually will be different. It will be this Hockey Islanders puck keychain.
Or this Islanders thing.
Wait, so I can win that?
I guess so.
All right,
Next
I'll
week,
win it. I'll win it
if you compete on Nickelodeon Gas.
Who gets slimed next week on Belmont Bunch Hockey Recap Weekly.
Temple Run.
No, was that
Legends of the Temple.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Hidden Temple. I got there.
Well, thank you everybody for watching.
Andrew scaring me.
Andrew? Oh,
Ladd.
Andrew. Mr. Ladd. Yeah.
He's smirking at our misfortunes. He's like, I'm still making 5.5
I'm still making 5.5 million. Oh, God.
I actually do have a thing I want to end the show on.
Oh, okay. What's up?
A little bit of a somber note, but Corey Schneider, the Islanders' third-string goalie, the one that they had just signed coming into this year. Hockey fans, you know him. He's been a really good goalie in this league. He lost his nephew in a fire, I believe it was, and the Islanders and Devils had a nice stick tapping, and ceremony before the game the other day. So I do want to extend thoughts and prayers to Corey Schneider and his family and his extended family, in what has to be a really, on top of a really difficult time, another one. So hope everything is well with him, and that he takes his time with everything at home.
Yeah, really thoughts and prayers, Corey, and his whole family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. And Tom will see you later today. Let's look at the upcoming schedule really quick. I have it up. We are playing. Oh no, wait. That's February. Hang on. We're playing the Sabres, right? Okay, so it's Sabres tonight.
Yeah, we get the Sabres 3 times in a row.
Sabres at 7 tonight, and then back-to-back on the weekend, 1 p.m. and 12 p.m.
Yep.
As those are early. And then we're going to play Boston on next Tuesday. So
it'll be another 4-game week for us at Belmont Bunch.
Oh, you said that, but I was thinking you meant win. Like 4 wins for us at Belmont Bunch.
Oh, no, I'm not going to go so far as to say that.
That's definitely getting gutsy. But all right, awesome. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time.